Um, I am Hillary Drummond Simpson, and I am the Young Men Success Coach. I work with parents and organizations to help our young men to become more successful. Now, today I'm going to be talking about a very sensitive topic. Sensitive, a parent asked me to talk about it, and it is how to help our young men to become more self-confident. Again, it's how to help our young men to become more self-confident. And for those of you who are watching this for the first time and you have no idea who I am, okay, let me just tell you real quickly who I am. I am the author of How to Become a Successful Black Man. This is the book. Cover will be changed soon. Okay, it's called How to Become a Successful Black Man. The men tell their story. So actually, I do not tell young men how to become successful. What I've done is I've interviewed other successful young men who tell how they did it, and they give the parents and the young men advice as to what they can do. Okay. Secondly, I have been an educator for the past 27 years. I've taught in 3 states, New York, New Jersey, and currently, well, in the state of Georgia. I'm no longer doing that, but I've been teaching. And during those years, I've noticed that 70 to 80% of our young men, when you ask them what they want to be when they grow up, most of them say they want to be in entertainment or they want to do sports. It's either they want to be a LeBron or they want to be a Jay-Z. Okay, it's kind of like no in between. And I just thought that they needed to have a backup plan, not that they shouldn't aspire, but when you look at the statistics, the people who make it is 1 in a million. Those are tremendous, tremendous odds. So there should always be a backup plan. And thirdly, I am also the mother of a young man, and he also wanted to be a rapper. That was back in the 90s when that was a big deal. He had a great voice, but really he wanted to be a rapper, okay? So in my quest to help to make him successful, we moved from the mean streets of Brooklyn, New York, which I thought at the time there was like a no loitering law that you couldn't stand out on the sidewalk. And there were, if they stood out on the sidewalk, they would be carted off to jail. So I got really nervous. He was 12 years old, and I wanted to move to a town where he wouldn't be having all those problems. So I searched for a top 10 school district, and I moved to a wonderful town in New Jersey, only to realize that it was 2% African American and that he was also marginalized in another way, right? 2% African American, you're going to stand out. When we moved there, the second day, he was accused of stealing a bike, only to realize that their parents had taken the bike from the store. It was, little ladies would clutch their pocketbooks. So there was like another fear that I had, okay? And it was just relentless. As soon as he got older, 19 years old, they would call the cops that the black man was on the block. It was a lot. And a lot of it I've chronicled in this book. So if you pick it up, a lot of that is there. It's called How to Become a Successful Black Man. All right. Now, so once we lived in this town, I decided to move closer because I was commuting all that time. My husband at the time and myself were commuting all that time to New York, from New Jersey to New York, kind of like 2 hours each way, which was really a lot. Okay, so I moved to New Jersey and started teaching in Newark, New Jersey. And at the time, I started a Boys to Men mentoring program. We partnered with Montclair State University just to have their young men come over to help our young men in the elementary school. So we've been doing a lot of things. And I started writing this book back in 2009, yes? And at the time when I, just clicked to send the book off to the publishers, what happened was that I got a call. My son was growing at the time, about 28 years old, that my son was arrested, okay? That's what I never wanted, okay? But I realized that if this can happen to me, then it can happen to any mother. And if you have not gotten that call, I pray you never do. And if you do, I'll hold your hand and we can do this together, because it is not great. And the statistics are not wonderful. So it is my mission, it is my passion, and I feel that it is my calling. So yes, I am a young men's success coach, and I stand in that. All right? So back to the scope for today. Today we're going to talk about how to help them to become more self-confident. Okay? Now, as you know, when someone doesn't have the confidence, they don't really do that much. They sit back and they wait because they're afraid. They don't have the confidence just to go out there and do it. Okay? It causes low self-esteem. Sometimes they feel really depressed if they have no self-confidence. And if you're in a relationship with one, it kind of sucks because you kind of want to lean on this person, but you can't lean on the person because the self-confidence is not really there, okay? So if they feel damaged, a lot of guilt, a lot of embarrassment. So we're going to talk about some reasons why it happens and some solutions to the problem, okay? Well, the first thing is poor parenting, okay? Poor parenting. I have seen in my years, and it's been a lot of years, that there are some parents that only yell and scream, especially at their young men, okay? And if they say anything that is not cool with them, then it's a hit or a slap or something like that. But that kind of parenting is very, very negative, and you cannot develop self-confidence then. That is just no way for you to develop self-confidence. So the parenting is one. Number two is a lack of knowledge. If the young man has no knowledge of something, then you can't expect him to be confident. And that goes for anyone. If you don't know something, you can't be confident about it, right? That's another. Two, verbal skills. The way to say that you know it or to let someone know that you know something is usually through verbal skills, right? If you can't express yourself, it's going to be hard for you to communicate that you know exactly what you know. So verbal skills is another. Number four is responsibility. Have they been taught responsibility? I mean, let's face it, ladies, a lot of times, we raise the girls, we let the girls have all these chores, we let them do, take care of the children, take care of the house, take care of so many things, and then we let the boys go. The boys don't really have chores. How else are they going to learn responsibility if they don't really have chores, right? So not having responsibility is another. Number 5 is that they use things to develop confidence. In other words, confidence is not inside, it's not intrinsic, it's outside. It's the car you have, the haircut you have, the sneakers you wear, how much money you have, the house that you have. That's what they see as having, they use to build up their self-confidence, but that does not give you self-confidence, okay? That is the intrinsic factor that you use, but when you don't have that, what do you have, right? So self-confidence has to come from deep inside. And the final one is a mindset. There is the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. The fixed mindset says, I am what I am. I can't change. Okay. This is the way God made me. And that's it. All right. So the fixed mindset will say that if you have no confidence, well, that's just who I am. I can't change that. But here I am to tell you that is different. All right. So those are the 6 reasons. And then I'm going to give you the solutions to that problem. So if you like this scope, I would like for you to share it. Okay. I'd like for you to go to my website, www.hillaryDSimpson.com. D as in dainty. Okay. D as in dainty, HillaryDSimpson.com. And like the page, sign up for newsletters or anything that I have to send you for free. My new book is coming out, Whatever Parent Needs to Know, and I'll send you a free e-copy of that. And just make sure that you share, and share. Okay? So let's talk about the solution to the problem. All right. The first one we talked about was poor parenting. All right. That's the authoritarian parenting where they say, do as I say, not as I do what I tell you or else. Okay. Well, back in the day, that's how we grew up, right? Because we were kind of like groomed for factories, working when people tell us to do what others have told us to do, to be obedient. Today, our kids are growing up in a global economy, right? 1 minute they could be here, the next minute they could be in China, or they could be talking to someone from China. So they're growing up in a different world. And so they have to have a different set of skills. So they have to have confidence. You can't say, do as I say, not as I do, because they have to ask questions. They have to be able to explain. So, give them a leeway, give them some choice. Let them know that they matter. So let's say they have to clean up the house. You could say, okay, you can either do it right now, or you could do it in another hour. They still have to clean up the house, right? But you're giving them a choice. You're giving them the power, and that's important, okay? The next thing is knowledge, all right? Lack of knowledge. Okay, well, lack of knowledge can be fixed easily, right? So you just have to learn, make sure that you learn new things. Parents, you can help by exposing them to a lot of new things. Yes, the young men can read book, read. That's the key, right? You've heard the thing they're saying, if you want to hide something, you hide, you put in a book, a black man won't read it. No, we're here to say that's not the case. Our men will read, and they can read, and they love to read, okay? All right, we're going to say it as it is. Then now there's also Google. All these information that you can just type it in Google. Let's say you're in school, right? And they don't really understand something. Go to Google, type in the images, type in the videos. You learn everything you want to learn right there. I mean, learning is right at your fingertips. So there's no excuse for that. Secondly, the verbal skills. Verbal skills, parents start from early. Yes? Okay. Anything you're talking to them, like from 9 months old, you're speaking in sentences, not juju, boo, 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 boo. You have to speak clearly and in sentences, because that is what they will repeat. And then don't let them off the hook. Just say he's just silent, he's just quiet. Let them explain what they have to say. Let them answer the question in a sentence. Okay. Just make sure that they are talking and they understand the importance of becoming verbal, because that says you're articulate, that says you're smart, supposedly, right? So we want to do all the things that we're expected to. Responsibility. If we're saying that they are not getting parents are not teaching responsibility, then what do you have to do? You need to give them chores. Chores are not just for girls. Boys need to have chores as well. Okay, what chores do you give them? If you want to give them outside to do, that's fine, but they can also do inside stuff. They can help to clean up. They can help take care of the younger ones. Anything that you give girls to do, you can give the boys to do as well. You should not let them just get off, because otherwise they'll just play video games. Otherwise, they'll do other things. Otherwise, they'll find a way to occupy their time. I'm going to give you a real quick story. One of the young men in the book that I interviewed is a doctor. And he said the reason he decided to become a doctor is because his mom was a single mom. His mom told him, always gave him these crazy outdoor chores to do, which he really hated to do. And he would always be doing chores all the time when he's not busy. And he really hated it. He said, you know what? There's no way I'm going to be doing this when I'm older. I'm going to be a doctor. Okay? So if for no other reason, they need chores. But chores really teach them responsibility, let them know that they can do stuff. And it's important for your child to have chores. If you don't, then that's just on you. You don't want to give them because you don't want to follow up on the chores, okay? Another thing people do is that when they give them chores and they don't accomplish it, they go ahead and they do it themselves. Or if you feel like he didn't do it correctly, you decide, oh, I'm going to do it, because you don't know how to do it. Please don't do that. A young man always wants to know that he can do something. Anybody does, okay? And when they do it, well, you praise them. So don't just say, move out of my way, I'll get it done myself. Please have the patience to teach them how to do it, because that's how they're going to develop their self-confidence, okay? If they think that they're about things that self-confidence is extrinsic, that is outside of themselves, it's what they have, it's what they look like, you need to praise them for what they do. Not praise them because they're cute. You need to praise them for what they do. I see you, Adley. Thank you. Praise them for what they do, because it is so important that they know that you approve of what they do. That helps them to develop self-confidence. So it's not about what they wear. It's not about their sneakers, their haircut, their clothes, It's about what they do. And the more they do, the more praise you give them, because that lets them know that if they put effort into something, they can become successful. Very, very, very important. And the final one is the mindset, right? The mindset. Do they have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Do they figure that, it's good or bad? I'm cute or I'm ugly, I'm smart or I'm dumb, or do they feel like, you know what? I can always change this. I can always change this. Hard work can change anything if they put their mind and their focus on it, okay? Asking for help is another thing that they don't do. They see that asking for help is weakness. So they don't do their homework, and before you know it, they are years behind. It's normal in the schools, people, for a young man to be years behind. They're fourth and eighth grade. When they test it, they're usually 2 or 3 years behind. You need to make sure they know that it is manly to ask for help. Okay, think about it. One hand can never clap. Think about the schools. Okay, they always put you in groups so you can learn from each other. All right, coaches put you in groups. Those of you that are in groups, you know what it's like. Okay, they put you in groups. A president never accomplishes the work by himself. Matter of fact, he's just the speaker. There's so many other people that surround him to make him do his job. All leaders have people that they ask questions from. Okay, they're always getting advice. They're always seeking for help. Okay, and you look at people say the wisest woman around right now is Oprah Winfrey. How many coaches do you think she has? She has not 1, 2, 3. She has 8 coaches. So she's always learning. She's always learning. I have a coach. We all have coaches. So if we all have coaches, what about our young men? How many coaches do we give our young men? How do we help them? How do we help them to know that it's okay to ask for help? It's okay for them to have a coach. It's okay for them to have someone that's going to push them on and let them know that they can do it. It is not weakness. It is a sign of strength when you ask for help. Very, very, very important, all right? And help them to know that they're constantly growing, they're constantly learning, and it's never, ever, ever too late to ask for help. And again, I just want to go over the things that we talked about. Poor parenting is one, okay, and we know what to do with that. Parents need to really show more respect to their young people so they respect themselves, all right? The next thing is lack of knowledge. They can find out anything they want. Key is to read, and go to Google. All right, you can find so many things there. Verbal skills. Verbal skills are very, very important. You need them to write, and you need them to show people that you're articulate and that you're intelligent. Yes. Responsibility. Give them chores. They feel that they will get this confidence in things. No, it's not. It's inside of them. So you always prop them up. When they do something well, let them know that they have done it well. If they work harder, let them know that the harder they work, the better they're going to be. Okay? And it's the same thing for the mindset. Give them the growth mindset that they can always change things. It's important to ask for help. It's important to get themselves a coach, and our young men can be self-confident. I want to say shout out to those that already have the confidence. I want to say shout out to the parents that are doing the things that they need to do. But right now, we need to prop up our young men. And I thank you again for joining me. Thank you so much, Rixie. I see you. I see someone else joining me. Thank you. And I know that you're not able to respond, but I thank you for joining me, and I will talk with you again next time. This is Hillary Simpson, your Young Men Success Coach. I work with parents and organizations to help our young men, our wonderful, wonderful young men, to become successful. Thank you so much, and I will talk with you again soon. Bye-bye. Take care.